Hi guys, James at Rampant Lion Reviews again for you today with another beer review. For this one we are going to stick to Sweden, but we're going to head up towards Gothenburg once again. Göteborg, as you would say in Swedish, the Swedish craft beer capital up on the west coast, using my catchphrase once again. But we're going to go back to a brewery who it feels like I haven't reviewed anything from in quite a wee while, but I have reviewed a good number of beers from these guys before. This must be review number 10 or so involving this brewery, if memory serves me correctly. So for this review then, we are going to go to the Gamlestaden area of Gothenburg, and we're having a look at another beer from Spike Brewery. So this one is another member of the business series, I guess you could say, if you can call it that. And yeah, this is one that I actually didn't buy, I think, when it was released, because I thought it was one of the beers that I'd had previously. So in the business series there has been illegal business, from what I understand. There has been strictly business. Now there was this one, the unfinished business, and there's also the monkey business as well, which is a collaboration with two Brazilian breweries, and you will see me review that one in a couple of videos time. But yeah, this particular beer, the unfinished business, this one comes in at 8% ABV. I'm not sure exactly when it was released, but I got this one through Systembolaget when they replaced my brewski beer that for some reason turned out to be a Pripps Blå in my beer box that I had. So yeah, interesting, this one. They told me they had these two beers from Spike, and I thought, right, let's just order these as well, because I think these are just about to be stocked through Systembolaget. But yeah, an 8% double IPA from Spike Brewery. We've had very good experiences from these guys in the past when it comes to this style, so hopefully this is another example of that. Cool to do another one from the business series, and I will need to make sure that I keep an eye on this kind of mini series of beers that they're doing over the next little while, and I hope that you guys enjoy my take on this one as well. Very curious to see what this has in store for us, and we'll just need to see how we get on. So yeah, let's go for it then, guys. As always with my reviews, I'll tell you a little bit about the brewery before we taste the beer. If you want to get straight to the tasting, just fast forward. All the usual links are in the description below. That's the brewery website, the link to my other reviews that I've done from Spike Brewery before. There will be more added to that in the fairly near future, of course. There's all the usual social media down there too. If you want to see more reviews, do please consider subscribing to the channel. The whole channel, of course, has a geography-based tagging system, so you can go into the homepage and search for beer based on country, city, state, county, province, prefecture, whatever it is you're interested in. Do check out the playlist of beers from different countries. There is one there for all the Swedish beers that I've reviewed for you. That's constantly being added to. And as always, please do get in touch and let me know some of the other beers and breweries that you guys would like to see me review. It's always great to hear from you guys that are watching the videos, and the support that you show the channel is hugely appreciated. So anyway, to tell you a little bit about Spike Brewery then, on to my brewery notes. So Spike Brewery, as I've mentioned to you already, are based in Gothenburg, and they were founded back in 2014 by Mats Westberg, Marcus Axberg and Martin Johansson as well. So all three had previously worked in the IT industry, but it's now only Mats and Marcus who are active in the company, and they now have David de Sourcy, who joined the company and became the CEO. I actually met him when I was at Spike Brewery, maybe, what would that have been, like last October or something like that, last September, some kind of thing around then. Very nice guy, and you know, you probably will see him feature in an interview on the channel at some point in the future. But yeah, Spike Brewery have become very well respected in Gothenburg over the last couple of years. The brewer is Bernardo Gava. He comes from Brazil, hence the connection for the monkey business beer that they have. But he trained in brewing at VLB Berlin and joined the company in 2017, and at the moment these guys are producing around 250,000 litres of beer per year, but about 25% of the volume that these guys have is used for contract brewing other breweries' beers. I think the likes of Duck Pond and Morgendagens and a few other breweries have been brewing their beers. I can't remember about Morgendagens, but definitely Duck Pond have been brewing their beers at Spike Brewery as well. But the brewery itself can be found in the Gamlestaden area, and they've got an on-site tap room which opens up on Saturdays and also serves food. This building, from what I understand, is a former slaughterhouse where they used to do pigs and cows and everything basically, but they also are looking at opportunities at the moment to build their own brewery, and as of August 2020, when I'm filming this review for you, these guys have produced 85 different types of beer according to Untappd. I believe the exact number listed there as of the 23rd of August when I'm filming this was was it 87? I think it was. I'm sure it was 87. But yeah, a very nice brewery this one, very nice guys behind it. I think I did get to say hello to Bernardo actually when I was up there as well, but David was very nice, and as I say, hopefully you'll see someone from Spike Brewery feature on a kind of meet the brewery video at some point in the future. I do need to get back to Gothenburg and film one or two more out and about things, as well as some interviews with some of the really well known breweries up there. But yeah, that's all I can really tell you about Spike Brewery for the moment. If you want to learn more, of course, you can check out the brewery website. You can follow them on Facebook and Instagram and things to keep up to date with all the latest goings on, and of course you can check out the Rate Beer, Untappd and Beer Advocate pages to learn more about all those the different beers that Spike have done. So yeah, let's get on and actually have a taste of this beer then and see what it has in store for us. This one, as I mentioned to you at the start of the video, is an 8% double IPA. I'm not sure if it's New England or exactly what kind of IPA it is, but this one is hopped with Motueka from New Zealand, which is a lovely limey hop, Mosaic, which is one of, you know, the American hop, the kind of tangerine oranges and so on, and then Chinook is the big sort of piney, resinous, grapefruity beast from the States as well. So yeah, let's get this guy out and we'll get on with the tasting. I'll just let you have a little look at the artwork of this one before we open it up. As you can see, this one is quite nicely presented. I'm not sure if this beer actually has two different labels, because the one that's listed there on Systembolaget actually has the kind of Illuminati pyramid thing, pardon me, that you would normally associate with Spike Brewing. They always have that Illuminati kind of thing there, but this one obviously does have it. But yeah, it's kind of interesting. So I'm not sure what Ordo Ab Chao actually means, but yeah, this one is not a collaboration beer. The other one, the Monkey Business, is a collaboration with Three Monkeys Beer and UX Brew, both I believe who are from Rio in Brazil actually. So it'll be cool to get some more Brazilian breweries on the channel actually. So yeah, this one should be really quite interesting. Very curious to see what this one has in store for us. But there you can see the money, the drugs, the drone, the camera. Don't sure what the other one is. Is that like a hand sensor or a hand bug or something? And then just a dude with a beard. Not quite sure. But yeah, 8% double IPA. This one should be quite interesting. And there you can see Spike Brewery, Gothenburg there. So yeah, 440ml can. This one, I think I paid 45 or 50 kroners for this one. Can't remember. So again, that's about that's just over £4 British. Maybe like £4.10 or something like that. It's, you know, it's €5 roughly. What else? About $5 US, something like that. So yeah. So for a big 8% double IPA, not really to be sniffed at, to be honest. And it does look as if it's more of a New England one. So yeah, let's have a look at this. That looks pretty good actually. It says, yeah, this one, it says on the side here, wheat and oats. So yeah, this probably is more of a New England IPA rather than anything. But the style doesn't particularly matter, of course. It's how good the quality of the beer is. So yeah, let's see how we get on with this one then. So as you can see, and as you would expect from what we've now found out is a New England IPA, this one has poured a lovely kind of hazy colour. It's this one, it's got a solid finger of what I would describe as a cream coloured head. It's not perfect white, this one. One or two big bubbles sticking towards the side of the glass there. The beer is pretty damn hazy. When you go up the alcohol scale in the New England things, of course, you are going to get progressively more hazy because there's more oats, more wheat, blah blah blah, more sugars basically to build up the malt base. But yeah, in terms of colour, I would describe this one as being a kind of darker yellow actually. It's maybe more, it's kind of like a mixed kind of tropical fruit juice, this one. That's where the colour of this one comes in on the scale. I always compare the New England IPAs to different fruit juices and stuff. You can get ones that are very pale, like pineapple juice. You can get ones that are, you know, a little bit darker, like mango juice or something. But this one definitely looks more along the lines of like a mixed tropical fruit juice rather than anything else. But yeah, nothing particularly surprising about the beer in terms of its appearance when you consider what style it is. So yeah, let's take a look at that aroma then and see how we got on. But lovely, you know, big haziness to the beer, which you would expect from an 8%er. So yeah, aroma time, guys. Let's have a little look at this. Oh yeah, straight away, the Motueka, the limey notes from the Motueka jump right out at this one. The Motueka is a lovely hop actually. There's also the Motuere or something it's called. Most of the New Zealand hops I think tend to be named after Maori things. But yeah, the aroma of this one strikes me as being very kind of citrusy and really quite zesty, to be honest with you. It's the lime really that just jumps out at me straight away. When your nose adjusts to that a little bit, you start to get more of the kind of tangerine orangey notes from the mosaic. But at the same time, those come across as quite zesty as well. The lime really comes across very powerfully in this, I reckon. I'll tell you something, that is a nice smelling beer. And you wouldn't expect it. I mean, if you've tried a couple of beers from these guys, Spike, they are very, very capable, in my mind. Yeah. But this one really strikes me as a more kind of citrusy, zesty leaning New England IPA. Nothing wrong with that, of course. I think a lot of the other ones I've had recently have been more kind of tropical leaning. So to get a citrusy, zesty one is always a good change of pace. But yeah, really big sort of limey qualities coming out of this one. The lime's quite pungent in this. It almost comes across as a little bit. It almost comes across as a little bit more of a lemon limey note. Maybe that's the Chinook helping it though, because as I've said, Chinook is a big piney resinous beast, and you know it's got a lot of grapefruit to it. But yeah, it really is quite resinous, so maybe that is the thing that's kind of promoting. There's maybe a little bit of an antagonistic effect going on there, and it's promoting the kind of limey notes. But yeah, the lime really, really jumps out of this one at you, I think. As I say, once your nose adjusts to it, you get a little bit more of the kind of oily, tangerine orange, which is nice. You don't get, I don't think there's too much of a darker grapefruit to this. You do get some of it towards the back of the nose, right enough, but I'd say the focus of this beer really is on the lime. And a bit of the orangey notes behind it. So yeah, it's interesting how this, it really is interesting how this whole thing goes together. There is a little bit of a kind of, when you sugar this beer up a little bit, there is a little bit of a kind of medicinally jammy type vibe to this one. It does have almost a little touch of a kind of, it's almost got a little bit of like a kind of sultana type vibe. I'm finding just when I'm shaking this beer up, it's got a little bit of that dried sultana kind of jammy type quality to it. And I really like how that goes together. The aroma that comes out of this beer, as I say, is very, very nice. But yeah, really citrusy and zesty. Yeah, so we've covered the fruity side of it quite nicely. So yeah, the green side of the hops for me, I'd say this one, you do get a bit of the piney resinous there, but I think the way that the lime comes out, it gives you more of an impression of like a floral aromatic spice. This beer for me really is quite floral. There's a wee bit of a lighter grassiness there, but then I would say definitely more of a kind of floral aromaticity and a big citrusy zest coming out of this one, which I think is really pretty nice. So yeah, there's a wee touch of earthiness to this one, which is one of the kind of traits of Mosaic. But yeah, I think we've covered the hoppy side of this beer as much as we need to. Usually we cover the malt base first, of course, but let's have a look at that now. So on the malty side of things, you can smell a good bit of the wheat in this one, but it comes across as quite smooth, not kind of pungent and bitey as you can sometimes get. The oaty creaminess comes out of this one really nicely. I think this beer is actually very well balanced between the wheat and the sort of oaty kind of creamy notes in there. There is a wee bit of a kind of, there is a little slight touch of a brown sugary note to this one, and when you've got the beer about this colour, I wouldn't be surprised if there's a little bit of, you know, Cara Munich or Cara Pils, you know, one of these, not too caramelly notes, but just caramelly enough to give you a wee bit of brown sugar. I wouldn't be surprised if there's something like that in this. But yeah, the aroma from this one is pretty nice. I mean, it's you have got a little bit of the brown sugary sweetness, and that actually goes well with it actually goes very well with the sort of jammy, sultani type vibes that you get with this beer. But yeah, as I say, good bit of a kind of wheaty, smooth, quite wheaty quality to this one, and then you've also got the oaty creamy notes coming out of it as well. It's very well balanced in the malt base, but it does come across as a little bit boozy, which, you know, you want. I mean, for example, recently I had the Dugas Bubble Gummy, and that's a really, really nice beer, but it doesn't quite have the kick to it that you expect from a double IPA, and it was on reflection after the video that I was thinking that, you know, this is 8%, but it drinks like a regular IPA. You do want, if you have an 8%er, you do want to know that it's an 8%er. So yeah, I've got a feeling this one might have a nice little boozy kick to it, just going by the aroma. So yeah, take a little bit of time and enjoy the aroma before you get stuck in. Motueka, I keep pronouncing that wrong. The Motueka is coming out really nicely in this one, and that's a hop that you will come across fairly often, but not as often as others, of course. So take a bit of time just to enjoy that before you get stuck into the beer. So yeah, let's have a taste of this one then and see how we got on. This one is the Unfinished Business, an 8% double IPA, New England double IPA from Spike Brewery in the Gamlestaden area up in Gothenburg. Let's get stuck in. Sláinte skål. Yeah, it's pretty nice. It's actually the boozy kick that I was just talking about. Not quite as big and punchy as I was thinking. You do get a bit of the booziness in the aftertaste, right enough, but it drinks very nicely and very smoothly, actually. But it does, you do get that bit of strength, that bit of kick to the malt base that really lets you know, yeah, this is a double IPA. So yeah, this is really very nice. But yeah, it's actually, the flavour of this one I think comes across quite differently to what I was thinking it would from the aroma, but it's a lovely beer. And as I say, if you know this brewery, you're not going to be surprised. This is a really nicely done beer. Had very good experiences with these guys in the past, but yeah, this drinks very, very nicely. Thumbs up to Spike Brewery once again. So yeah, let's try and break down this beer then. So straight away with this one, you can feel that lovely kind of white bready malt base just blanket in the middle of your palate. And again, this beer, it is a little bit less kind of boozy in the malt base than I was really expecting it was going to be. It's a lot smoother actually, which is kind of interesting. But yeah, you've got that lovely kind of almost German white bready quality. That really forms the backbone of the beer on the middle third of your palate and the back third of your palate. If you go towards the back third of your palate, you can feel it almost just feels a little bit thicker. The white breadiness is just that little bit thicker, and you get a few of the little kind of bitey, almost slightly spicy notes from the wheat popping out there. There's a few little hints of graininess as well. But yeah, as you come further forward into the middle third of your palate, you can feel it just kind of gradually thins out a little bit. And in the very centre of your tongue, you can feel it's a little bit lighter. It's got an almost very slightly biscuity vibe to it, a little bit of a McVitie's digestive biscuity sort of thing, but I would say that that's actually quite minimal. It really leans towards a more... it really does lean a little bit more towards a kind of white bready note rather than having that little bit of sweetness. Quite often these New England doubles these days have a sort of, that kind of Werther's originally oily kind of sugary sweetness to them, but this one doesn't really have that. It is more leaning towards the bready side of things. But yeah, the further you go into the aftertaste though, you will get a little bit more of the booziness out of this. You can tell this one is a little bit more boozy because you do get just a little bit of that booziness. It's kind of like an almost jammy like booziness sitting in the middle of the palate there. You can feel that, which is quite nice. It doesn't, as I say, it doesn't have the brown sugar sort of backing it up though, which is quite interesting. But yeah, you do get a little touch of that booziness out of this one. But yeah, I like this. Big thumbs up from me. But yeah, as you move further towards the front of that middle third of your tongue, you do get a bit of a stronger kind of oaty, creamy note coming out of the beer, and I really like that about it. But yeah, as the malt base is pretty straight up. There's nothing too complex about it. But yeah, definitely one of the more kind of bready leaning New England doubles that I've had in recent times, and I do appreciate that about this one actually. I think this one comes across very, very nicely. Yeah, it wasn't quite what I was expecting. I thought this one was going to have quite a bit of a boozy, sort of medicinally cough syrupy type sweetness in the middle of the palate, but it really doesn't. So, and it drinks very nicely as well actually. So yeah, thumbs up to Spike Brewery for that. This one feels a little bit different I think from the other New Englands that I've had, but I think more recently the beers I was reviewing were mainly porters and stouts and things like that. So it feels like a wee while actually since I had a Spike IPA. I could be mistaken, right enough. I've reviewed, must at least be 10 beers from these guys now. But yeah, hoppy side of things then, let's look at that. So back corners of the palate, you do get a little bit of earthiness out of the beer. I think Chinook and Mosaic are going to give you a little bit of that. But then yeah, as you come further forward, you can feel the sort of earthiness just smoothens out a little bit. You do get a nice little bit of a kind of piney resin quality sitting there, but you also get a little bit of the floral aromatic spice. Chinook, from what I remember, is about 12% alpha acid. The Mosaic is about 13 or 14. Motueka, I honestly can't remember, but there's a lot of the New Zealand hops actually sit around the sort of 6, 7, 8% mark. They've got lovely big flavours, but they're deceptively low in their alpha acid content. And of course you've got Nelson Sauvin as well, which is a beast at about 16%. But yeah, the likes of Motueka and things, I think, is one of the lower ones. I've got a feeling that Motueka sits around 8 or 9% alpha acid. But yeah, you don't, the big kind of, the sort of floral spicy notes you're getting out of this one, they're not too pungent. But those will be coming mainly from the American side of things rather than New Zealand. But yeah, you do get a little bit of that lingering there on the front corners of the palate. Then as you go round the front curve of the tongue, it's just a little bit lighter and more grassy as well. And I really like that about how this beer goes together. So yeah, definitely lighter and grassy around the front edge of the palate there. This is one of these beers, it's very, very smooth actually for a New England double, and I do like that about it. It's just, I think it's kind of, this one's just about in its prime just now. It's just in about the best time to drink it because it comes across in a really, really nice and very smooth drinkable way. But yeah, let's focus on the front third of the palate now. So yeah, front third of your palate then. If you go towards the back of that front third there, you will get a bit of the kind of stronger grapefruity notes, which is from the Chinook, of course, but again, that's not overly pungent. It's not overly pungent there, which is quite interesting. But yeah, as you move further forward from that, the grapefruity notes do kind of linger there a little bit, but then when you reach the kind of front half of that front third of your tongue, the front sixth of your palate, if you will, you get the kind of tangerine orangey notes, and they're not too oily actually. They come across as a little bit more juicy and wetter actually, I think, in this beer. But yeah, you've got that kind of tangerine orangey note from the Mosaic, but you also have that kind of limey quality. The lime comes out and it sort of blends with the orange almost on the very tip of the tongue, but yeah, you get the limey notes from the Motueka around the very kind of front edge of your palate, and that sort of blends in with the it really blends in a little bit with the, how do you say, the sort of grassy, citrusy zest that the beer has. There is a little bit of zestiness to this beer around the front edge of your palate, but you know, if you compare the aroma of the beer to the actual flavour of it, yeah, it's not quite as pungent. I'm not sure exactly how old this beer is, because obviously that could vary depending on how old it is, but it says I think it's meaning canned on the 21st of, I'm not sure if I'm reading that number right, but it looks like the 21st of July, and so yeah, I'm drinking this one when it's been in the can a month, so it still is in pretty good condition. A month in the can is okay for a New England IPA, and more so for a New England double, but yeah, it's still in pretty good condition. So yeah, it's not as if the beer would, these things would have dropped a little bit, I think, at that stage, no, but yeah, it's a lot smoother. It's not quite as citrusy and zesty and punchy, if you like, as the aroma gives you the impression of. It really drinks very nicely. It's more of a smooth IPA rather than anything else, but it gets a thumbs up from me. The further you go into the aftertaste, you can feel a little bit of the kind of breadiness linger in there. There's a bit of the kind of floral spicy notes, and you've also got the you also have that nice kind of lemony, limey sort of citrusy zest coming out of this one, which is very, very nice. So yeah, thumbs up to Spike Brewery once again. They've got another solid beer here in my mind. But yeah, let's talk about the mouthfeel then, because we've covered the flavour quite extensively. So yeah, mouthfeel wise, this one's it's a mid-bodied beer. Not the thickest in New England IPAs, not the kind of lightest, kind of sits somewhere in the middle, leaning a bit more towards that heavier side of things though. Carbonation is very smooth. It does have an element of creaminess to it, and I think, yeah, creaminess it comes out there. It does have a wee touch of oiliness to it, but again, not the oiliest of New England IPAs. Lovely smooth creaminess, lovely little bit of oiliness there. But yeah, pretty damn solid, I have to say otherwise. I think in terms of IBUs, I think we'd be talking about 40-ish with this one. It does have, the more you go into the aftertaste with this one, you do notice a little bit of something just kind of lingering there, to be honest. So yeah, I would say there is a wee bit of a kind of hoppy bitterness to this beer, some nice floral aromaticity, little touch of pine resin, of course, mainly from the American side of things. But yeah, you can feel that little bit of bitterness, 40, maybe 50 IBUs at the most, in my mind. The malt base, like I said, is very, very smooth. This beer is really smooth and very slightly creamy in a certain way. But yeah, you've got some nice fruity notes to this one, a little bit juicy, not quite oily, as I said, but this is a really nice, quite smooth drinking IPA. So one of the smoother, breadier New England doubles that I've had over the last little while. But again, a very, very solid one from Spike Brewery. So thumbs up to them again for this. I think they've done a bloody solid job on this, and I'm not surprised because I know this brewery fairly well these days. So yeah, I think we can leave it at that for this one. This one was the Unfinished Business New England Double IPA with Chinook Mosaic Motueka from Spike Brewery in the Gamlestaden area in Gothenburg. As I say, hopefully I can feature these guys on a Meet the Brewery segment at some point soon. I know that they are keen for it, I just need to see when I can get to Gothenburg. But yeah, this one was a really interesting one to film, because it's a little bit different, this beer, I think, compared to some of the other New Englands I've had recently. But that's what Spike do, they'll give you something to sit and think about, actually. So yeah, let's leave it at that for this one. So thank you again for watching my beer reviews. Until the next time, please like, subscribe, share, all the usual YouTube stuff. Let me know your own thoughts on this beer in the comment section below. Let me know what your favourite beers are from Spike Brewery as well. We will return to these guys fairly soon, and yeah, you will see me review the Monkey Business at some point in the next couple of weeks. So keep your eyes open for that. It will be cool to introduce you guys to a couple of Brazilian breweries at some point as well. But yeah, thank you again for watching, and I'll catch you guys very soon. The Unfinished Business, a New England Double IPA, 8% ABV from Spike Brewery in the Gamlestaden area in Gothenburg on the west coast of Sweden. Slange, skål, make sure you check out Spike Brewery. Many more reviews from these guys to come. Cheers.